How are you?
You are such a role model of how at every phase
Of life, every stage of life,
we can be leaders in a way that, like you, make history at such an early stage of life. And I think that's so
critically important to inspire
our young leaders to have the courage to see how they can actually change history.
Oh, thank you. I wish I was there to give you a big hug. Boys, and I'm so proud that you're there to represent women of color or somebody, a very powerful figure. I'm so glad that you to represent women of color, that you can be the Vice President of the United States, or even, let me say this, the President. How you like that?
Well, listen, let me tell you something. One of the reasons I'm so happy to speak with you is because I'm clear about the broad shoulders upon which I stand, and you are part of that. Because were it not for your courage and your sacrifice, I am clear that I would not be where I am right now. Your work and your leadership at such an early stage of your life really did pave the path for the day that I became Vice President of the United States. And so I wanted to talk with you, first of all, to just say thank you, because I know that was an extraordinary moment of courage, and most people could never think about how they could, with that kind of individual sacrifice, set a course of history that eventually would lead to somebody like me being Vice President. And so the first thing I just wanted to say, Ms. Colvin, is thank you for everything you are and everything you have done for so many of us. And, I've been thinking about what you did on March 2nd, 1955, and I was just wondering, can you share with me what gave you the strength that day to do what you did?
What gave me the strength to do that day? I'll try to make it short as possible. My teachers and my parents and my pastor, well, they all were talking about the injustice that was taking place in Montgomery, Alabama, locally. But February, we did Negro History Month, but it wasn't legally a month. But the faculty members decided, since we were called Negroes at that time, that made significant contribution to this society, they had been deliberately left out of American history. So only two men was in Britannica Encyclopedia. That was Booker T. Washington and George Washington Carver. So what gave me the courage was, it wasn't only about the bus seat. It was about all the injustice that the adults had been talking about, but they was afraid because of the KKK to go out and take a stand. But a teenager mind didn't really, at that time, was fearful of the KKK. We just thought they were bad people, So as a teenager, that kind of fear wasn't in my mind at that time. I knew that bus audience and that bus driver and the policeman was doing something wrong, and it was unfair, and I wasn't breaking the segregation law. It was the Jim Crow rule that I was breaking. And all the teenagers that was on the bus, they didn't get off and run off the bus. They sit there with me. And so with those teenagers sitting there with me and didn't get off the bus, what else I had to do but to say, this was my day. I felt like Harriet Tubman would push me down on one shoulder, and Sojourner Truth hands would push me down on the other. So that's what gave me the courage, the teaching of my teachers during Negro History Month.
The teachings of your teachers
during
this important History Month.
Yes.
I think about your story in a way that I know inspires all our young leaders. You know, I love it when teenagers and young people come to the events I do around the country, because I believe that we're all, everybody is born a leader, but it's a matter of when they choose to activate it and to understand that their role of leadership and potential role of leadership. And you are such a role model of how at every phase of life, every stage of life, we can be leaders in a way that, like you, make history at such an early stage of life. And I think that's so critically important to inspire our young leaders to have the courage to see how they can actually change history.
Oh, thank you. I wish I was there to give you a big hug. Thank you so much. I just say I want to be informal. I'm going to be informal. Vice President Harris. I'm going to be informal and say I wish I could give you a big hug. Oh my God, I think
I feel your hug coming through the phone.
Wow.
Coming through the phone.
Oh.
Well, you know what? I'll figure out a way when we get past all these COVID restrictions that maybe we can see each other in person so I can collect on that hug.
Okay, Vice President Harris. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you. I think I want to jump up and get out of this chair. I think I'm going to, the arthritis gone. I'm going to jump up out of this chair now.
Oh, but please be careful. And let me wish you a happy Black History Month, which in my opinion is every month of the year. And
yes, you're right.
I'm so honored to speak with you today.
Oh boy. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Oh, and I wish you all safe, and I wish you will succeed, and keep up the good work, and I pray for you. I pray for you too. Thank you so very much.